In the sun-baked suburbs of Scottsdale, Arizona, where palm trees sway like they're in on the joke, and every lawn is trimmed with military precision, folks like to pretend they're living the American dream. But scratch the surface, and you'll find the real rulers of this desert paradise, the Homeowners Association, armed with bylaws thicker than a phone book and a God complex to match. I'm Ryan Brooks, just a regular guy trying to keep my family's slice of history alive in a world that's forgotten what roots mean. That in-ground pool in my backyard? It wasn't some fancy upgrade from a catalog. My grandfather built it with his own calloused hands back in the 70s, hauling concrete under that brutal Arizona sun. It's where Dad taught me to swim, where my kids learned to cannonball, where we've toasted every birthday and survived every summer scorcher. It's not just concrete and water, it's legacy. It's home. Everything was fine until that Tuesday afternoon. I was kicking back by the pool, cold beer in hand, watching the ripples catch the last light, when I heard the click-clack of sensible heels on the patio stones. There she was, Karen Whitaker, HOA president, marching like a general inspecting troops. Perfect bob haircut, HOA polo tucked in tighter than her smile, clipboard clutched like a holy relic. "Ryan," she said, voice sugary sweet but eyes like ice picks, "we need to talk about your pool. It's out of compliance with the new aesthetic and size ordinances. You'll need to have it removed by the end of the quarter." I nearly choked on my beer. "Removed? Karen, this pool's been here longer than half the houses on this block. My grandfather built it before the HOA even existed." She didn't blink. "The covenants are clear, Ryan. Structures exceeding certain dimensions without updated permits affect property values and community harmony. We've sent notices. Now it's time to comply. For the greater good." Greater good. That's HOA speak for, do what I say or I'll make your life hell in the name of property values. At first, I tried reason. Then I tried ignoring her. Neither worked. The letters started coming, weekly fines stacking up like bad decisions. $250 here for visual blight, $500 there for non-conforming structure. Neighbors who used to wave started averting their eyes. Whispers followed me at the community mailbox. "There goes the guy causing trouble." Karen made sure everyone knew I was the selfish one ruining the neighborhood vibe. The pressure built slow, then all at once. My wife stopped sleeping well. My business calls got shorter because I was distracted. One night, staring at another certified letter demanding $2,000 or else, I realized this wasn't about the pool. This was about power. Karen didn't just enforce rules, she got off on them. She'd spent years turning the HOA into her personal fiefdom, citing chapter and verse while conveniently ignoring her own backyard eyesores. That's when I decided to fight fire with the exact same bylaws she loved so much. I hired a property lawyer who specialized in these suburban dictatorships. We started digging, not just into my case, but into hers. Turns out Karen's perfect compliance had some cracks. While she was hounding me about my pool's size, her own property had an unpermitted pergola addition that violated the exact same square footage rules. Even better? Photos from last year's block party showed her hosting an event with amplified music past the strict noise ordinance she'd fined 3 other families for. Hypocrisy meet evidence. But I didn't rush it. I played the long game, just like she did. I talked to the neighbors quietly. Turns out Dave next door had his shed cited for the wrong paint shade. Mrs. Patel down the street paid thousands to repaint her front door, approved beige, after Karen's campaign. People were tired. Scared but tired. The community meeting was where it started to crack open. The rec center smelled like burnt coffee and desperation. Karen sat at the head table, gavel in hand, looking every bit the benevolent dictator. When my turn came for public comment, the room went dead quiet. I stood up, calm as desert night. "Karen, I've reviewed the covenants you're so fond of quoting. Section 7.4 clearly states that all board members must maintain full compliance on their own properties to avoid conflicts of interest. Yet your back pergola addition, built last spring without board approval, exceeds the exact size limit you're trying to use against my grandfather's pool." Her face twitched. "That's irrelevant to this discussion." "Is it?" I slid copies across the table. "And let's talk about the amplified sound at your July 4th gathering. Decibel levels that would have earned anyone else a $300 ticket. Funny how rules work when they apply to everyone else." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Karen's usual allies shifted uncomfortably. She tried the classic move, painting me as the aggressor. "This is a personal attack. The board acts in the community's best interest. Best interest? I laughed, low and sharp. Or your interest in controlling every blade of grass. You've weaponized these rules to play favorites. My pool stays because it was grandfathered in under old covenants you conveniently rewrote without proper vote. But your violations? Those are fresh. The room erupted. For the first time, people spoke up. Dave stood. She made me tear down my trellis last year for the same reason. Others joined. The dam broke. Karen tried to gavel them down, but her hands were shaking. The power she'd hoarded was slipping through her perfectly manicured fingers. It went to court, of course. Karen's side came loaded with expert testimony about safety hazards and declining property values. My lawyer dismantled it piece by piece. Then came the killer blow. We presented the pattern of selective enforcement. Emails showing Karen fast-tracking approvals for her golf buddies while crushing regular homeowners. The judge, a no-nonsense Arizonan who'd seen his share of desert tyrants, wasn't impressed. Mrs. Whitaker, the judge said, peering over his glasses, it appears the HOA has engaged in arbitrary and capricious enforcement. The defendant's pool predates the current restrictions and poses no documented harm. Furthermore, the board's own chair appears to be in violation of multiple covenants. Motion to dismiss granted, and I suggest the association review its leadership. The courtroom went silent, then the whispers started. Karen's face drained of color, the same color she demanded all the shutters be painted. The aftermath was poetry. At the next election, Karen was voted out in a landslide. Turns out when people stop being afraid, they remember all the petty tyrannies. The new board actually listened to residents. Some ridiculous rules got scrapped. Neighbors started talking again instead of spying. As for Karen, last I heard, the new board politely cited her for that pergola. She had to tear it down herself. The woman who lived to make others comply finally had to swallow her own medicine. Bitter, I bet. I still sit by that pool most evenings. The water's the same, but the air feels lighter. My kids still cannonball, my wife still smiles without that worry line between her brows. And every once in a while, when the desert wind kicks up, I swear I can hear my grandfather chuckling. So tell me in the comments, true or false, was Karen the real victim of her own civilized rules, or did she finally get the karma she spent years handing out to everyone else? Who really abuses power in these neighborhoods? The guy protecting his family's legacy, or the woman who turns neighbor against neighbor until the bylaws she worships come back to bury her? Drop your take below, because in HOA land, the line between order and oppression gets real blurry real fast.